Perth, day 2. Ask George. What a day that was. And Chris asks, is this the most chastening defeat of the Bazball era? There have been a few.
They're adding up. I'll give you a few others. There was the one in New Zealand where they could have enforced the follow-on and didn't. Hubristic. There was the one at the Oval, previous test, no? Against India, Costa Series, hubristic. There was this one.
Hubristic?
Well, absolutely, it was hubristic. And you very, very rarely get the chance to win in Perth. As an England side, I know India did it, but as an England side, you very rarely get the chance to win in Perth. And you'll know this already, all the opportunities they had, Hazelwood's not here, Cummins isn't here, Lyon looked injured, Khawaja looked injured. They were effectively 105 for 1. All they had to do was bat. They had all the time in the world. And just like when James Bond says it, Rosa Klebb appears and shoots the hell out of him and his wife. So, weird reference for those who don't know the film. A very chastening defeat from where England were. Effectively, they have lost a test match in 2 days, which I think is the first time that's happened in the Ashes for 100 years. I can't remember what the word was. Chastening, chastening, very good word, yeah. Right up there, or down there.
And the problem was that in the end, it was so chastening, they left a chasing for a head that was just finding his beast mode as well. And it feels like going out of this, if you think at the end of day 1, when things felt so different, and it felt like there were all these several Australian players who had real question marks over them. Have they now got themselves into a really good position? Okay,
so there's mitigation in that. 2 Australian players had fantastic games. Mitchell Starc obviously bowled beautifully, the best bowler in the match. And Travis Head batted fantastically well. A great innings, a magnificent innings. Absolutely up there with the best you'll see. But if you don't let Australia back into the game, this is the thing, that Australia are always going to be dangerous. The record long term is formidable. So you can't be complacent. You have to be harder. You've got to be more rigorous. You've got to be more sophisticated. And Ben Stokes in the presser is saying, he's sticking to his guns, of course he will, they are not going to change. Anyone thinking this is going to be a eureka moment for them, ain't happening, mate. He's saying they've got to take the opportunities to score runs when the ball's there. The ball wasn't there. The ball was not there. They were looking for the ball. You have to wait 3 more days to go in this game. There was all the time to accumulate, to bat. No one in Test cricket history has just been able to go out there and slay the bowling all the time like England try to do. You've got to respect the bowlers, you've got to respect the game, and they're not doing that enough. And they had a great opportunity here. And I don't want to be simplistic and say they squandered it. They have squandered it. But you have to give credit to Head and Starc because they were magnificent.
Well, but I go back to, then that Head has come back. He's gone into this game in quite a very, very lean run. Bear in mind as well, he'd only got over, I think, 33 in his previous 11 innings in all formats. And he even admitted that he came into this game, into this series, wondering if he could still do it against high-paced bowlers on Australian wickets. But the other one that they've kind of let come back into it, and it was in that period where you thought the game was just going one way, around just going into lunchtime, and that was Scott Boland. And they'd actually been aggressive and going towards him and getting him off his lengths, and I felt that
they didn't need to.
They didn't, but
it worked.
It did
they
work.
Didn't need to. Well, did it work? He bowled poorly in the first innings because he kept over pitching, so they didn't have to go looking for him. But look, they didn't get enough runs in the first innings. They didn't get enough runs in their second innings. If you get bowled out within 35 overs, they've batted 67.5 overs in the match, right? You're going to lose, aren't you? They haven't demanded a second new ball across the match for both their innings. You can't lose 20 wickets in 67 overs and expect to win any games. So yeah, sure, Australia did some good things in the game, but England enabled it to a large extent.
Erica Morris asks, attacking batting is one thing, but do you feel England don't value their wicket enough? Are they capable of getting the balance between attack and recklessness in the sweet spot? Yes.
They're capable, but are they going to do it? Are they learning? I think they've been indoctrinated into a certain way of playing, and I don't think it will change under this regime. I might be proved wrong. They're good enough. They've shown flashes in this game of an ability to win tests here. They have. But do I think they'll learn, sell their wickets in a more dear way? I'm not sure they will. And I do think they just are struggling to get the balance. They think they have to hit the bowler off their leg. Do you know what else you can do? You can hit the bad ball, you can push them into second and third spells. There are lots more sophisticated ways to do the game than just trying to smash your way to success. No one's ever been able to do it in the history of Test cricket. There isn't actually a great record of this England team doing it either. You know, they didn't win the Ashes at home. They didn't win against India at home. There have been some good results, but they've also lost against a pretty modest Pakistan team away. You know, they're an entertaining, flashy side. They're like a boxer with a good punch but a weak chin. They're Frank Bruno. I think I've said that before.
All I say is, like, we've gone through such dramatic turnarounds in emotions. It feels like 50 times in the past 2 days. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know what we might be saying after another 2 days of cricket, which might actually not be the end of another test. Who knows?
Well, the things I'm saying aren't particularly new.
No. Marco, 2 years preparation, no Cummins or Hazelwood, winning the toss, strongest bowling lineup on a favourable pitch and getting the Aussies on the back foot. Given England couldn't win here, when can they?
Well, look, the positive answer to that from an England perspective would be that they've shown they have just about the capability to win. The more thorough answer would be, you know, remember how resilient Australia are, and a reminder that you have to take those opportunities. Have there been 2 years good preparation? In some ways they have, you know. The stuff we talked about yesterday, dropping James Anderson, ending up with this fast bowling attack. In other ways, they're not learning. They're not learning that if you don't give your bowlers time to recover, your bowlers can't bowl as fast second time round. You know, no bowling attack is going to find 35 overs enough to recover. Did they bat enough in Australian conditions before this test? Well, sure as hell doesn't look like it, does it? So, yeah, there are lots of questions to ask about the preparation, but I'm worried really about the messaging of the management. And I think it's simplistic and hubristic. And I'm worried that they're in love with the punt, they're in love with the gamble, more than they're in love with winning. And personally, I wouldn't mind if they scored 2 runs and over slower and won a few more games.
Occidental Tourist asks, will this England team ever engage in some reflection or introspection, or will it be more bombast and bravado about sticking to their guns?
It'll be bombast and bravado.
Sticking to their guns?
I'd love to be proved wrong, but I don't think they'll change. Individually, 1 or 2 might. Joe Root might be thinking, you know what, I played you know, he's earned the right to have a bad game, I think. I think he'll go away, reflect, and think he could have done that better and play slightly differently. But most of the rest of them,
stick to the guns. David Wright asks, does an England team that collapses so brainlessly twice in a match deserve this level of travelling support?
It is absolutely true that England are blessed with great support, and it's absolutely true that that support will be hurting this evening. And tomorrow, you know, it's eye-wateringly expensive to come to Australia to pay for the hotels, the flights and everything, and there'll be a lot of disappointment. I do think that most sports lovers understand that, certainly England cricket lovers, that you've got to take the rough with the smooth, and the long-term view is that this will make the good days even sweeter. I take the point, but I think that yeah, you have to understand that your team can lose, particularly if you come to Australia. Look, it's not like there's a huge track record of wild success, but it is galling to have been in that position and to some extent surrendered it.
And you know, I think too, noticed at the end when Travis Head walked off, when he finally got out, all the England supporters were on their feet, giving him a standing ovation and applauding as he went off. So they're going to enjoy good cricket as well. They'd enjoy it more if England are winning.
It is extremely expensive to come here. And it's lovely. It's a lovely place. You know, I'm sure they'll have a lovely time. But 2 days, they're completely justified to feel a bit let down and aggrieved. But, do they deserve the support? They've played a lot of great cricket in the last few years. The last 15 years, I would say, English cricket has changed completely and been so much better than it used to be. And I think to some extent you've got to take the rough with the smooth while not accepting poor performance. Does that make sense? I hope so.
Always. Andrew Brooks says, Travis Head is such a dangerous fight fire with fire player. How do England stop him from becoming a dominant force for the second tour in a row?
Yeah, he is a really, really good player, and there are various plans that might work. I'm not positive that the short ball plan was the way to work. I think Australia got this wrong in mid-afternoon as well, Stark in particular had prospered by basically pitching the ball up, getting a bit of seam, and actually was swinging it today. And suddenly the lower order come in and they start going short and get smashed around there was a period there, where Atkinson and Cast did quite well for England. But they're going to have to think about that, but you've got to get the ball moving, and I think you've got to get him reaching on and just outside off stump. I mean, I don't think it's rocket science to say that, but he's obviously a brilliant, dangerous player.
The weird thing is, again, it's Australia having problems that you were thinking about yesterday, and then England almost helping them at times to find solutions, is Usman Khawaja is obviously an issue for Australia at the moment, both in terms of what's going on with his back. So for the second time, obviously couldn't come out. Who, by the way, would you have had on your bingo that when Australia finally, after all these months, settled on a specialist opener in Jake Weatherald, that we would see both Marnus Labuschagne and Travis Head come out and open the batting in the first test? It's bizarre. But the question of the other opener, if Khawaja isn't fit, or if they decide he is not the man to open the batting for Australia anymore, which could very well happen in this series, then I think Travis Head may have given them an option at least for this series.
Oh yeah, sure he has. But they're not invincible,
No.
Belinda's just gone through a few of the potential weaknesses there, and there are more in the bowling attack as well, So England have to remember that they bleed, they can be killed, as Arnold Schwarzenegger put it.
The only two people who call me Melinda are you and my mother when she's really annoyed with me.
I don't really, though, do I?
I don't. But
I don't. I was trying to be polite, because all the things I usually call her Melissa. Should we say why?
No.
I call her Melissa because we worked with Mark Nicholas for years, and he called her Melissa, and we eventually concluded that it was easier to change her name than his mind.
I'm sure he watches this show,
Of course he does, everyone does.
Ian Sweet asks, what is there to do in Perth on an unexpected free couple of days?
Masses. I tell you what, Perth.
There's a game at Lilac Hill.
There is a game at Lilac Hill. I'm not sure we want to tell people that because there's going to go. There's not much shade under the trees. One of the reasons this is a bit frustrating is that coming to Perth this time is so much more gentle and comfortable than normal. It's spring here, when usually we come in the Australian midsummer and it's baking, brutally hot. And this time it's actually a lovely, gentle warmth. But if you're English, I think the Australians are a wee bit chilly. And the whole place smells of honeysuckle, honestly, and the jacaranda, it really does though, doesn't it? And the jacaranda trees are just beginning to bloom. They're those incredible sapphire blue trees. They're gorgeous. And it's lovely. They do lovely wine here, a lovely beer. You can go to Rottnest Island if you like flies. There are a million things you could do. And I hope that's some solace to the people who have supported. I hope they have a lovely time. But this one's really going to hurt England supporters. It's really, really going to sting. I mean, to be honest, I'm still, genuinely, when I think of Gqeberka, Port Elizabeth, Andy Bickle, that World Cup game, that still hurts. That's more than 20 years ago. 2006-7 Ashes, I was reviewing hotels in Paris at the time, bizarrely. I persuaded a Parisian publican to keep his pub open all night to show the Ashes. Do you know how hard that is to do? And then that happened. I'm scarred, and I fear this is a new scar. Don't you? I think this one's going to really, really sting. But hey, it's one game. They can turn it around. England can turn it around. But it felt to me that Australia were on the floor, and they've let them get up. Bit harsh, bit simplistic. I know that Australia were very good, Travis Head in particular, but you know what I'm saying.
I'm not going to rule anything out. For me, We've had 2 days.
We're talking about going around Perth.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to rule out anything in Perth. Not anything.
I'm not ruling out anything in this series because I felt like watching the mood of everybody change over the last 2 days has been like watching a metronome on crack. And on that note, we'll see you in Brisbane.
What's a metronome on crack? Do you want to do that again?
I know a lot of dodgy metronomes that take drugs. You don't?
How can a metronome even take crack? It just doesn't work. If you were looking at your screen and you'd written that, you'd delete it and you'd have another go.
I've written it in my piece.
You haven't, have you? Okay, we better go and change that on that bombshell.